For blocks, so we're going to start the meeting, and I am going to explain what is going to be. Thank you, staff, for bringing the mic up a little. I'll explain what's going on. First of all, let me just read into the record, and then I'll do a little explanation. Welcome to the Hawaii County Council Committee on Public Safety and Mass Transit 7th session. This is a carryover meeting. We are in recess from before. From May 14th, 2013, Council Chambers here in Hilo. The time is 9:03. Please turn off your cell phones, pagers, and other mobile communication devices, or at least put them on the silent mode. And I'm calling this meeting out of recess and to order. Okay, normally in front of a committee we take public testimony, but on May 14th we took well over 100 people testifying on the subject matter of this bill, which is Bill 79, regarding the prohibition of genetically modified organisms. So there will be no public testimony today. I made that announcement 3 or 4 times during the last meeting, but you're all welcome to stay and watch the discussion among the council members. And I'd like to reintroduce the council members here that are in this committee. I'll have Margaret Wille to my left and Valerie Poindexter.
Chair Ford?
Yes?
We have no sound in Waimea.
Okay, we can hear you, and why does Waimea not have sound going in the other direction? Okay, I'm going to put us in recess for a moment, so hang on. We're in recess.
Hilo, this is Kona. We don't have sound to.
Okay.
Waimea, can you hear me?
Kona has no sound. Thank you. We're going to do a little timeout. Ka'u, can you hear us?
Yeah.
Fortune?
Yes, Madam Chairperson,
Okay,
we can.
Ka'u's okay. And
the same goes for Pahoa.
what about Pahoa? Mike?
But not the chambers.
We may have to shut down and reset everything. Okay, all right, let me check in first. I know Ka'u can hear us. Pahoa, can you hear us?
Yes, ma'am, you just came online.
Okay,
Sounds
thanks,
clear.
Mike. Dave, can you hear us?
Yes, loud and clear, Chair.
All right, thank you. Scott, can you hear us?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes, we can hear you.
We're all online, so I'll continue with my discussion. So I've just called this committee out of recess from May 14th. I'm explaining to the public that we will not be taking public testimony, but you're all welcome to stay and listen to the council's discussion on Bill 79. What will happen today, there are 3 committees. There's this one, which is Public Safety and Mass Transit. No testimony will be taken. The second committee will be Valerie's Finance. She took no testimony at the May 14th meeting. She will be taking public testimony today for Finance. And the third and last meeting will be Margaret Wille. She did take testimony on geothermal. She will not be taking testimony today. I'm asking the audience to please be very patient with us and very polite and civil to us, whether you agree or disagree with anybody. I'm asking everyone, there will be no applause, no noise making, no signs, no disturbances while this meeting goes on. If there is a disturbance and I can identify the person, you will be leaving the meeting. So please behave yourself, and we need to behave ourselves too. So anyway, I'll be going on. Does any council member, committee member have anything to add to that? Okay. All right, then we're going to go on. Do we need, Mr. Clerk, do we need to reread Bill 79 into the record since this is a carryover meeting? I would be a little more comfortable if we did. Yeah, would you please read in Bill 79 again, please?
Communication 271, Bill 79, Ordinance amending Chapter 14 of the Hawaii County Code 1983, 2005 edition as amended by adding a new article relating to the prohibition of genetically modified organisms. From Council Member Margaret Wille, dated April 25th, 2013, the bill adds a new article to Chapter 14, General Welfare, titled Genetically Modified Transgenic Organisms Prohibited, to prohibit the propagation, cultivation, raising, growing, sale, or distribution of transgenic organisms, GMOs.
Ms. Wille, may I have a motion to approve Bill 79
So moved.
and file all related communications?
And file all related communications.
Okay, may I have a second? Council, may I have a second on the motion? Thank you, Drew. And that was from Drew Kanuha, the second. Ms. Wille, you have the floor, and let me just say for the council's benefit, this is a very controversial and extremely serious subject. I am going to grant the council members some latitude in time here. I'm also going to grant that we can have more than 3 discussions among the council members, and I will restrain myself from making any comments till the extreme end of this situation per our new council rule. All right? So I will
Madam
just be...
Chair?
Yes? Who's talking?
That's Councilman Fresh Onishi. Can you just let the public know that I'm in corner?
Yes.
But because of the agenda that was written out, that I cannot participate.
Yes. Mr. Onishi, as he stated, is in Kona. Let me read his statement just into the record, in part. As stated in my memorandum dated May 15, 2013, I have made commitments in Kona that were confirmed prior to the scheduling of the continuation of the committee meetings on May 29, 2013. Therefore, I plan to attend the May 29, 2013 meetings in Kona, except between 9:30 and noon. So Mr. Onishi will be leaving at approximately 9:30. Is that still correct, Mr. Onishi?
Correct. And then just to let the public know that at the discussion in the meeting in Hilo a couple weeks ago, it was our understanding that I could participate from Kona, but because of the agenda was written prior and it didn't state that any members was going to be in Kona, that's why I cannot participate because of the Sunshine Law, possible violation.
All right, hold on just a second. I would generally agree with that, except that this is a continuation of the last meeting. Does any other council member, the chair or the steward or clerk, have a comment on this issue? I'd like to get this one laid to rest. Mr. Yoshimoto.
I think that's, thank you, Madam Chair. I think that's the correct reading because the initial or the first agenda from May 14th indicated that we would all be here, or it did not indicate that anyone would be in Kona. So because it's a continuation, all of us need to be here. I think that's a consistent interpretation.
This particular rule is the Sunshine Law, and it is not subject to the council suspending the rules. We cannot suspend the rules. Thank you, Mr. Onishi, for explaining that, and I'm sorry that the circumstances turned out the way they did. All right, and we're going to go back to Ms. Wille now, since this is her bill. And Ms. Wille, you're on.
Okay, thank you very much, Chair. My intention here is to limit the spread of GMO cultivation here on the island, but most importantly, to do so in a fair and Pono manner by way of a number of grandfather exemptions for horticultural use, papayas, and livestock, and I will go through those shortly. And at first, I want to just say that we're really, for practical purposes, the only Hawaiian island in a position to not be sort of overtaken, not become totally GMO-oriented. And we are an island with a vulnerable ecosystem and a vulnerable population. We are the first generation whose children are less likely to be as healthy as their parents. We are also no longer able to assume unlimited natural resources, soils, water, even clean air. And clearly, the reasons for the harms or the toxins in our environment are cumulative. There's no one cause of why there's the environment is being degraded or our health is being limited. But some we can control and some we can't. And here we're trying to address and to decrease exposure to what many of us believe to be a potentially toxic substance. I recognize that there are many who say that GMOs are all safe, and there are plenty who say they're harmful. and there's science on both sides. But I think our state and our county are governed by the public trust doctrine and the precautionary principle. And the precautionary principle, in essence, says that in case of uncertainty, err on the side of caution and conservation. And that's what this is all about. This isn't about who's wrong and who's right. There are many that have been using GMOs where it's legal and legitimate and believe in it. And this is certainly nothing meant to be condemning or negative to them. It's to provide a direction to promote greater health and welfare of the people and the environment. Under the precautionary principle, the burden of proof is also on the proponents of the product, not on those who may be adversely affected. And one of my concerns has been that the biotech industry was able to get an exemption from tests that are ordinarily required of substances for food for human consumption. So this has not been fully tested in a way that ordinarily would be done where there's human consumption. I also see this as an economic opportunity. Really, in terms of becoming an international source or reliable source of non-GMO crops and beef, for which there's a premium being paid. There was a number of people who came here, or investors, looking at whether Hawaii, this island, could be a reliable source of sort of GMO-free or grass-fed natural beef, which they say is now being sold in Japan for more than the price of Kobe beef. I'm also aware that Japan is, for example, in the Prince Edward Island, has now made that island sort of their source of GMO-free soybeans. So there is an economic opportunity. And I want to stress that our Hawaiian host culture and our island's Asian Pacific heritage, as part of its sense of place and identity, support a close relationship to nature and that which is natural, including natural farming. I do have some handouts that are supposed to be being given out or be given out shortly, and one is a sample of another ordinance that was passed in a county in California, and then another is a U.S. government report on the impact of broad use of GMOs on the soils, water, and even in the air. And the third one is which has also been distributed by Corporation Council. Their Corporation Council's 2008 memo as to the legality of the ordinance that is supporting GMO-free taro and coffee, which we already have in place. I also have a memo from the Research Division of the U.S. Congress, I think it was written in 2006, on why such legislation as this is legal and is not preempted or trumped by other, say, federal legislation. So those are supposed to be being given out now. And I do know what I have done is, after the hearing last time and all of the testimony on both sides, I've met with people on both sides of the issues, and I've read the written testimony, and in response to that, I redrafted Bill 79 to incorporate and try to do this legislation in the most Pono and just fashion. So I'm going to just quickly...
Ms. Wille?
Yeah.
If you're going to make the amendment, please motion it into life on the table here.
Okay. I'm just going to explain first, though, that the way I'm doing it is by substitution rather than by specific amendments, and we'll go through that. So I'm going to move to move to amend by way of this draft 2 for Bill 79, and ask that it be seconded.
Okay, hold on. Which communication number is going to be the substituted document?
The substituted document is number,
Madam Chair, if I can help.
Certainly.
Yeah.
271.146.
yes.
Okay, so I need a second.
Second.
Ms. Eoff is the second. So, 271.146 is replacing your original, hold on, let me-
Bill 79. Yeah,
271.
okay. Oh,
Nothing.
271.
Okay,
And I have also passed out a memo sort of highlighting key changes, but I'm just going to very quickly run through the differences and explain the bill.
Ms. Willie, hang on just a second. The memo that you've handed out that gives kind of a summary of your changes is communication 271.147. Is that correct?
Correct.
Okay, and for Mr. Onishi's benefit, Mr. Onishi, I've asked the staff to provide everything what we're getting today to you if you don't already have it. Thank you. Go ahead, Ms. Willie.
Okay. If you take this Bill 79, Draft 2, the first section is on findings and purposes, and basically explaining why I am doing this and why it's important, and also clarifying where questions were raised, such as by Corporation Counsel, responding to those questions. So I'm not going to, everyone can read that, findings and purpose. And then the second section is under authority, just again, what is the legal authority, our homeroom statute, and the constitutional environmental rights statute in particular. So going to page 6, I want to go through the first substantive section is the definitions. And the key changes here from those who have a copy of the original copy is one is that physically contained, the definition of that, there was a lot of concern as to the difficulty of how one physically contains GMO usage or cultivated crops. And I've simplified this and made it so that there are certain requirements or the buffer area separation to adjacent property can be reduced based on a demonstration by that party as to how it would be effective. So I've substantially lessened the restriction on physical containment. I've also clarified in terms of registration, where it says registering GMO products, made that very simple. You see exactly what it would be included in registering. I did put in a specific definition for genetically modified organism so that it's not it's simpler and not under the transgenic organism. And then in prohibition, there's no real change here. There is a I think I took out some of the nuisance language in order to address some of the concerns of Corporation Counsel, but basically it stays the same. No person shall engage in the propagation, cultivation, raising and growing, sale, or distribution of transgenic organisms. And then the next section is the exemptions, and that's just what I want to be really clear on. So nothing in this article makes it unlawful to purchase, sell, or use for human food or animal feed that which contains GMO products. The next is the horticultural exemption. There was a lot of concern that really if we're addressing how are we as humans being impacted, that in terms of the floral industry or horticultural, that should be exempted. So this does exempt genetically modified horticultural plants that are used for. And then there's an exemption for physically contained medical or agricultural facilities exemption. That was also in the original bill. And then I've clarified and made the papaya exemption, that nothing in this article make it unlawful to cultivate genetically modified papaya, provided there's comply with the registration. And there is also a buffer area requirement, but I set a standard, but it can be otherwise if you provide the information how you're going to maintain that buffer, such as, for example, not having any female plants, doing it in a way that that the distance to other production is not significant. And I know of at least one of the papaya farmers where they're farming both GMO and non-GMO and are able to explain how they he ensures that there isn't cross-pollination. And then there's also livestock exemption for those who are customarily engaged in using GMO products. And this exemption applies to those who are actively using them as of the effective date. Okay. So those are I just wanted to go through each of those exemptions and hope that you'll all look at them and see the differences. Then just on registration, I did add a registration fee for each location, which means all contiguous land would be treated as a single location. And enforcement is very close to what I had before, except that I simplified the language to some extent. And penalties is the same, except that I added a provision that would add an additional fine if for someone who doesn't obey an order of violation. And under citizen suits, let me say that there was concern, I know, by Corporation Counsel, such as the public being able to, putting in here that the public can bring a lawsuit against the county for non-enforcement. I removed that and simplified this section. So that's basically what this is all about. So I've tried, again, to do this in a way that really sets us towards taking a real step towards improving the well-being of our people and of our environment in a way that seeks to limit any interference with those who are currently involved.
Ms. Wille,
And
could you
using-
hold on just a second? I will get back to you. We've lost Ka'u. Could we try to set Ka'u up again? So I'm going to put us in recess for a couple seconds, Nom. Thank you. We're in recess. Okay, I'm calling us out of recess. Thank you. All right, Ms. Wille, please
Yeah.
continue.
Okay, the communications that I referred to before have now been handed out, and I just want to run through quickly what they are. The first one is another sample ordinance. This was by the County of Trinity, State of California.
Ms. Wille, would you give the communication
And that's
number?
communication number 271.148. And I just thought it might be helpful to see another sample ordinance along the same lines. The second is a USGS, U.S. Geological Survey, talking about the problems of the widespread use of Roundup, and basically pervading, frequently detected in surface waters, rain, and the air. So it's not just what the plants are, it's the use of what is used for the herbicide and the impact of that
Please give the
herbicide.
communication number.
And that is communication 271.149. The third one, which is 271 1.150 is, again, the 2008 memo from Corporation Counsel responding affirmatively to the question of the legality of such bans. In this time, it was relating to the restriction of genetically engineered taro and coffee. And the fourth is Communication 271.151, and this is a 2004 memo from the U.S. Congressional Research Service responding to many of the legal issues that are raised, such as have been recently raised by our Corporation Counsel, and making it clear that there are no court cases, and there are no court cases subsequent to this saying that such a ordinance would be illegal in any way. So unless no one has come up, advised me of anything to the contrary. And I think one thing that I found really important here, I'm just going to mention, is sort of there was a case, the one Supreme Court case that reflects on this is Maine versus Taylor, and that had to do with out-of-state bait coming into the state. And what the Supreme Court, U.S. Supreme Court said, the constitutional principles underlying the Commerce Clause cannot be read as requiring the state of Maine to sit idly by and wait until potentially irreversible environmental damage has occurred until the scientific community agrees on what disease organisms are or are not dangerous before it acts to avoid such consequences. So I just want to say, I know there's a memo from the Corporation Counsel. I've sort of submitted this in order to address their key concerns. Okay, so if anyone, I'm going to yield to others. I think that if at some point we call up Corporation Counsel, I'd like to address Corporation Counsel, but I'd like to first yield to what the thoughts of others on the committee are.
Thank you, Ms. Wille. Before we go on to the next testifier, the next council member, committee member. We've lost Ka'u, but before we go there, I want to let you know that if you've on a parking meter, you got to feed that meter every couple hours. So you need to keep that in mind, and I'll make that announcement throughout the day or whatever. So we're in recess till we get Ka'u back.
Is that in the original version, it was going to be the Director of Environmental Management that department would administer this. Based on input from that department and also reconsidering how other places have administered it, I've switched it over to the Department of Research and Development, which department includes our agriculture program. So I think that is significant, and I wanted to make that one additional clarification.
Thank you, Ms. Wille. Mr. Yoshimoto.
Madam Chair, what is your preference as far as discussion on the amendment? Do you want to allow us to go into a lot of detail today, or because go ahead. I have two approaches. We can either do it the long way or possibly the shorter way.
Okay. My preference is to do it the long way, and the reason for that is we have so much material that we're all going to have to read. But I think we should get as many questions out of the way as we possibly can before we hit this again at another meeting. So I won't make any suggestions as to what that should be since I'm in the chair position.
Okay.
So that's my preference. Does the council or the committee have any other preference? We need to get through this, and the longer we delay going through all of the questions we might have, the worse it's going to be in the future. Mr. Kern.
Thank you, Madam Chair. I believe, we just got this information. We just got this whole new bill, basically. I don't think it's really possible to go the long way without actually having a chance to sit on it and read it and go through it and examine it. Otherwise, we're talking about something that we really haven't had the opportunity to really examine and to talk about in the research. So it's hard to have that conversation without having the time. That would be my concern.
All right, thank you. Mr. Kanuha?
Thank you, Madam Chair. I feel exactly the same way.
Okay.
The issue I had with this was transparency. And we just got this amendment this morning. It's pretty substantial. And for me, not having the community testify and be able to look at this, and even us being able to look at this is a really big deal. And the more knowledge we have, the better we can be prepared to explain this and ask the important questions to the community, to the people who are here. Even having them be able to testify on this is pretty important to me. So I didn't want to go into detail about the amendment, but that's just the issue that I had.
All right, thank you, Mr. Kanuha. Ms. Poindexter?
Yeah, I am in agreement with Councilmember Kern and Councilmember Kanuha, because I do, have some questions as to, for example, environmental management, once you move it to R&D, research and development, they don't have the power to enforce. Environmental management does. Okay, so I won't explain it. Okay, so those are reasons. A lot of things are popping up. So I agree with Councilmember Kern and Councilmember Kanuha. The public should have a voice in this first.
All right, thank you. Ms. Eoff?
Yes, I wanted to thank Ms. Wille for explaining this amendment so thoroughly, and I appreciate all the hard work that you've done to make these changes. But I think I agree with my colleagues that we need some time to look it over and give the community a chance to understand what the changes are. And so I'm not sure if we've made a motion yet. But
no, we haven't.
Yeah,
Hang on,
okay.
we got
Well,
a few more
I'll
people.
stop there.
Ms. Wille, you haven't spoken yet on this issue.
I agree with.
Okay.
I agree with the sentiment. I'm trying to be responsive, and I definitely would like to have the feedback, and not trying to rush anyone to try to absorb this and respond in the same moment.
Okay, thank you. Mr. Yoshimoto? Oh, I'm sorry. Mr. Ilagan?
Thank you, Madam Chair. And with that said, I don't want to repeat what everybody just said, and I'll just ditto the rest of the statements.
Somebody's cell phone needs to be shut off. Okay, Mr. Yoshimoto, go ahead.
Okay, Madam Chair, so I think I can do a little bit of both, but in the long run, I think we're going to have extended discussions just so the council and the public's benefit. I was going to suggest with Ms. Wille that we postpone this to the call of the chair, because my idea is you've been meeting with the community, you saw I guess a great interest that this bill has generated. So that would be an opportunity or time for you and other council members to go out in the community and talk about your amendment, I guess the one that you're proposing now. So I don't know what kind of timetable you'll be looking at, but that would be my suggestion.
Okay, hang on just a second. Mr. Yoshimoto, though, you did say you did have some questions. So
Yes.
you've got
Shall
your,
we take
go
care of it
ahead.
today? Okay, I got my 5
What
minutes.
questions you're willing to ask today, let's do it today, and then we'll see what happens.
Okay, thank you, Madam Chair. So, Ms. Wille, as far as changing the enforcement to the Director of Research and Development, have you consulted that department as far as their involvement?
Yeah, I'm trying to add in terms of the budget, additional staff person there. So that's the Department of Ag, and I'll see what their responses are and
Oh, so
go from there.
You're in the process of checking with them, is that what it is? Okay. And in terms of gathering information, you've had an opportunity to meet with some community groups then, as far as this updated version, or is that still in process?
Well, I've been meeting with community groups in terms of the original and adopting the various provisions according to following those meetings. Input from all different, both pro and con.
Okay, so that's...
And clarifications, yeah.
So in terms of the one we just received today,
Yes.
has that been disseminated to everyone?
No, it
Oh.
hasn't. No, it hasn't. So
Okay. So
publicly.
so it makes sense, and I think what the council members are saying in terms of the transparency and allowing everyone to weigh in. So I would support the sentiment of the council. Thank you.
Yeah.
Is there any other committee member who has a short, brief questions or anything? No, okay. I certainly will yield to the desires of the committee to postpone this. The one thing I'm not comfortable with is just to the call of the chair. I'd like to set a date. I understand, I make the decision, and I'm about to make a decision. I want a date.
Yeah, I would say until, we could do it till June 4th. I mean, I don't see any.
All right,
no?
let me ask just a question.
Oh, no? Okay.
That one is kind of stuffed right now.
Okay,
Yeah.
so it would be
It would
June-
be the committee meeting on staff. What's the next?
June 18th?
Is that the next one?
If I may.
Yes, go ahead.
We may want to have a separate day, because when we postpone this, then testifiers can come testify again. So I would imagine that
Okay.
one day might be devoted just to testimony. I mean, Margaret, what do you think?
Yeah, I think that's
So just
a
a
good
separate-
idea. Well, testimony and discussion.
Hopefully we
can do that. But I would like to actually set the date
Okay.
and not say to the chair, so that the people here know what that date's going to be and aren't having to, check in and figure it out. So I'd like to figure it out right now, if possible. So
You would be agreeable to just a separate day in and of itself, rather than on a
Yes.
committee day where you have 5 other committees?
yes.
I would support that, because we are going to have a massive amount of testimony, and I don't want to have to keep doing this. So if you could pull your calendars, our next, June 4th and 5th are in Kona. So are the 18th and 19th. We're trying to catch up. So I frankly think that the first week of June is not good. This is too soon. So we're looking at maybe the 17th, Monday the 17th, or Thursday the 20th, so that you could stay in Kona overnight and not have to drive back and forth. Ms. Eoff, you have a comment?
I don't think the 20th would work because of the HSAC conference.
Good point. How about
And
the 17th?
I'm not sure if is Kona the appropriate venue? Would you rather have this meeting be in Hilo or Kona?
No, I think we should do the next one in Kona.
I think we need to have this on both sides of the island. I really do. So, you're not here the 17th? Okay, let's look at the last week of June, the 24th through the 28th. We don't have anything going on that week. What would your preference be? How about, is everyone Monday, or do you want Tuesday? What is most beneficial to each of us?
Monday's clear.
Monday, Tuesday, Monday's okay? I got 2 Mondays. Mondays?
I don't have my calendar here, but I'm hoping.
The Monday, the 24th?
Can I look at your calendar with
Tuesday,
you?
because I have already, Tuesday.
Well, I'm looking at Monday, the 24th, Mr. Iligan.
After you guys figure out, thank you, Madam Chair. After you guys figure out the date, I was wondering if I could speak a little bit about the amendment or the substitution.
Absolutely.
Thank you.
I have something on the I gotta be on the Wi-Fi to install, like.
No, that's not good. That's on Monday.
5:30.
Okay, so how about 25th?
This,
No.
25th, Tuesday.
Not good for me.
26th, Wednesday. 26th. Going once. Oh,
26.
hang on, we're still checking calendars up here.
That's in Kona, it's going to be tough.
You see, when you have this old-fashioned calendar, it works really quickly.
Val, where's this?
26th, Wednesday?
Should we do this set?
No? Are you saying no?
No.
Thursday, the 27th.
Can't either. No.
Thursday's out. Friday, the 28th.
Possible?
Friday, the 28th.
Friday the 28th.
Friday, the 28th.
Who's doing this? Is the mayor?
Adopts OP and CIP budgets. That's a bad day. We're into July. July 1st, Monday, July 1st.
I can't do that.
Okay, Tuesday, July 2nd. Tuesday, July 2nd.
Sounds good.
Okay, hang on. Val's still checking hers. Okay, everybody's okay? Gregor?
July?
2nd, Tuesday. Is Mr. Onishi gone already?
No.
Okay. So Tuesday, July 2nd.
Everybody's okay?
It's going to be in Kona, so we have some equal distribution of this discussion. Everybody's okay?
Yeah.
Tuesday, July 2nd, 9 a.m.
Okay.
in Kona
Thank you.
at the West Hawaii Community Center, Civic Center.
Can you let them know that they can still testify here?
Okay, since we're going to be postponing this, we will have open testimony from the public on that day, both in Kona, Waimea, Pahoa, Ka'u, and Hilo. Any place we have a video conferencing site, we will try to get it scheduled. The only thing I don't know about is Ka'u right this minute. Deborah Lee's going to have to check with the center because it could go very, very long. So we may not have Ka'u, but we're going to check on that. But right now, it'll be the meeting. We will physically all be in Kona at the West Hawaii Civic Center, 9 o'clock until whenever we give it up. And there will be public testimony at that time. Any questions from the council members? Any staff issues that we need to address on that? Okay, cut your light. Mr. Iligan, you have the floor.
Thank you, Madam Chair. First of all, after reading the amendment, I started thinking about everyone here, and you have come here. You have come here with your busy schedule, and I'm really thankful that you came here because you showed how much you care about what's going on in government. And when I got a chance to talk to the beef cattle, the non-edibles, the papaya farmers, I got to understand a little bit more about their situation. And when I look at this amendment, I see the prohibition A to C, and then you got the exemptions A to E. So you got this big exemption and this little prohibition. So I'm thinking this pretty much just puts a target to all the local farmers. And instead, it shows that if we as a body passes this, it shows that we think that all GMOs are wrong, except this. So it's kind of like, to relate it to you guys, it's kind of like the scarlet letter, putting that A for adultery. So putting that G for GMO on your backs. This is what I see on this amendment. This exempts everyone, however, we think it's wrong. So it's one of those things, let's just focus on what is wrong. What is the main concern? What is the health concern? Rather than exempt everybody and having them to work and live a life where they're not sure if they're doing is a wrong thing or a bad thing. And that puts that G. And that's my biggest concern. I just want to make sure that we don't target the wrong people, especially the local farmers. And I'm not talking about just initial local farmers. These are farmers who's been 4th to 5th generation farmers in this island. And I just want to make sure that we don't hurt their business and we don't hurt our agriculture business by doing anything that devastates our agriculture economy. So I just wanted to let you know and take this opportune time to let you know how I feel about this amendment. And I want to thank you for coming out of your busy schedule and participating in our government. Aloha.
Mr. Clerk, I want to make sure that communications 271.146 through 151 will be on the internet very, very quickly so that the community can pull them up and read them so that they know what this is about.
They've already been put on.
Okay. All right. So for the public, communications 271.146, .147, .148, .149, .150, and .151 will be the subject of the discussion. And there may be other things as well. At the July 2nd.
Repeat those numbers a bit more slowly so we can write it down?
Certainly. They all start with 271. First one is .146, 147, 148, 149, 150, and 151. That's the communications that Ms. Wille presented to the council this morning that we need time to read. Ms. Eoff.
Ms. Ford, at this time, I'd like to make a motion to postpone Bill 79 and all related communications until July 2nd.
Second.
Any discussion on that postponement? Seeing none, Mr. Clerk.
Ms. Eoff,
Aye.
Mr. Iligan,
Aye.
Mr. Kanuha,
Aye.
Mr. Kern,
Aye.
Ms. Poindexter,
Aye.
Ms. Wille, Mr. Yoshimoto,
Aye.
Chair Ford.
Aye.
Chair Ford, you have 8 ayes on the postponement.
Thank you. Bill 271 and all amendments and communications are postponed until July 2nd, 9 a.m. in Kona. And, I'm sorry, Bill 79. That's all related to Bill 79. Thank you for your attendance, and especially thank you for being so civil and polite. I really appreciate it. This meeting is now adjourned.
Go for it. Perfect. Oh my goodness. Okay, so look at that. Look at all these photos. Yeah.
Yeah, I did. Hold on, everybody. Wait a minute. I made a mistake. So we haven't taken a motion to adjourn. Ms. Eoff. Mr. Kern, and second by Ms. Eoff. Say yes, Ms. Eoff. Yes. Thank you. All in favor of adjournment? Aye. Thank you. We are now
Oh,
officially.
there's Alicia over there. Blue dress.
Did you hear that what the changes were? Did you hear what the changes were? It's 750 feet.
Postponing it. Okay, yeah. So what happened there was basically nothing. They postponed it, I think, to July 2nd, 9 a.m. It's a special committee day, so because the agendas are full for the next committees and or full council meeting. They have to see this again in committee. Hi, how are you? Because they have amendments. So they have to talk about the amendments.